slashed his shoulder and his neck. He was yelling right in my face. And he smelled of sake and fish. And I would like to show you my wounds that I received. As you can see, this part here is where the bayonet went in. And after he stuck me, then I fell down and then I cut his throat. I killed him. And on Iwo Jima, I had 3 holes in me. The first hole was in the upper right-hand side, and there were 2 small holes right here where the bullets went through. They went through here, they went into my chest, they went through, chipped my clavicle, went through the top of my lungs, and came out through the top part. They interviewed me and they asked me why did I want to join the Special Forces on it, and I told them that I wanted to kill Japs. And then he stuck me in the stomach, and I went down backwards, I fell in there, and he was going to jump in on me and finish me off.
Hey there, this is Rishi Sharma with Remember WWII. For those who don't know, I've been traveling across the world on a mission to interview on camera every single World War II combat veteran. Today I'm privileged to share an incredible interview with an incredible man named Frank Wright. He's a Marine Raider. In this interview, Mr. Wright is going to detail his experiences surviving hand-to-hand combat against fanatical Japanese troops during their banzai charges. You're going to notice that he reflects a lot during this interview, and it's more like he's bringing us along with him to the front lines, and we should all be so very honored for that opportunity and that he agreed to the interview. Mr. Wright also needs our help. He wants to go back to Iwo Jima for the 80th anniversary this month, and the Marine Corps Club in Stockton, a great organization, is trying to raise the money to get him there. He's able-bodied, but he needs some help, and we can be the people to make one of his dreams come true, to pay for him, plus some of his guardians to go along and make sure it's all very safe. Please consider donating. There's a fundraising link in the description and comments. This hero needs our help. If you're considering donating but not sure, I guarantee after you watch his incredible testimony, you will want to give him more than money. I'm also looking for other people to join the Remember WWII team. I'm focusing really on getting as many veterans on camera, and I need some editing plus social media help, so please reach out if you want to join the team. Thank you, and God bless.
They started drinking a lot, and they'd get drunk, and then they'd come out of their place and come in to where the guys were set up in their foxhole. It was kind of a small thing at that particular time. Then we'd hear the party going on up on the top of the hill, and we'd hear the tanks starting up. The gunnery sergeant hollered out, says they're getting ready to do something up there, so you better fix bayonets and don't get up out of your foxhole. So we all fixed our bayonets and stayed in our foxhole, and we just waited. And then later on, we could hear the tanks starting up. And they would start up, and of course that made a lot of noise. And then there was a lot more starting up. And then pretty soon we'd see 1 or 2 tanks coming down with the Japs following right behind it, evidently to make sure that the tanks didn't get out of line or something, whatever their training is. And then pretty soon they started coming down faster and faster with the tanks leading, and then there was a hell of a lot of tanks coming down on it, and the guys behind it, the guys were jumping over the dead Japs that had preceded them. That was a scary thing to do, to see and have happen. Pretty soon we hear all the commotion up on the hill, and then all the Japs started coming down real fast on it. And then, God, there must have been thousands of them on it. And I had three clips of ammo left because I hadn't replaced them when we had that other bullseye attack happen when we first came in. And I used all three clips on it, and so it must have been, I guess I shot maybe 18 Japs or something like that with them on it. And some did, some just got wounded and kept right on going down. They were all heading toward the landing area of the headquarters company, where all the tanks, our tanks, were at the time. That's where they were really heading for. But there was a lot of the tanks came in. And then the tank got ready and they came up from the headquarters company down below us. And as I said, I shot all of my rounds, and as they came down the hill, I would try to stab them or slash with them, and some I got, and some I finished off, and some were dead. Some of our guys were dead on it, and the Japs would jump over them, and some of them would stab them while they were down. That was and then the tanks were coming down on it, and then the tanks were coming up from the headquarters company down below, and they all met up there just about where we were, and we were right on the edge of the whole attack on it. And I must have shot more than what I needed to on it, but anyway, I did. Some of them didn't want to fight. That they just wanted to slash on it, and cut you up. They liked that on it. They didn't do a lot of jabbing in there, but they did a lot of slashing on it. And of course, I followed through with that too, and some of the stuff that I was trained to do on it. And I had cut one hand up pretty bad, and he, I don't know what they yelled, something. They yelled something. I don't know what they, but anyway, I got. He started slashing up pretty. Maybe that's how they trained. I don't know, but anyway, he came in pretty fast, and I got his arm and one hand, and I started backing up from his aggressiveness, and then I slipped over on that little berm that I put up around my foxhole. And that was, and as I slipped on that, and as I fell back, well, then I was off balance, and then he stuck me in the stomach, and I went down backwards, I fell in there, and he was going to jump in on me and finish me off. Then my a guy in the next foxhole behind, away from me there, he saw that the guy had knocked me down into the foxhole, and he turned around and he shot the guy in the back or some place in there, but he didn't quite kill him. Then the Jap fell on top of me when I was down. But when I fell, my hand hit the gung-ho knife that was helping me dig the hole on it. And when I I felt that, and I felt comfort. I couldn't use my bayonet anymore on it because of I was laying down on my back, and he was coming at me. So I pulled out the knife out of the ground and just raised it up and slashed his shoulder and his neck, and he started bleeding like hell, and he was yelling right in my face. And he smelled of sake and fish. And that's a hell of a lot different than fighting them and shooting them from 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever. You got this guy, it's in your face and yells, his eyes wide open. It's a lot different. Anyway, so he sat there and he bled all over me on my blouse and stuff, and we stayed there until early morning. Early morning came, and then we started to kind of count noses and see who was dead and who wasn't, and we found a lot of them that had died on it, and Japs and Marines both on it. So, and then, but I still had that hole in my chest, and I didn't know how deep it was or what it was like or anything. I just knew that I had been stuck. And thank goodness I was stuck on a slant, because it didn't go straight in. It just went on a slant on it, and so I missed some of the gory details that it happened to me on that particular charge on it. But to feel that knife going through his shoulder and his face, his throat, and it felt like you were really accomplishing something, and as if, well, I've done my duty now, you know, and as if I've met my maker. But you can still hear that yell on it, because it's right in your face. And stunk. He'd been drinking sake and eating that raw fish stuff that they make. So anyway, so finally he died, and next morning, well, they were counting noses, and they saw this Jap in there, and so they pulled him off, and so I was underneath it, and he pulled. Then they pulled me up and saw that I'd been stuck, and I had blood all over me. So they searched, and they just saw that it was mostly his blood that was on me, not mine. And so I just put my hand over my stomach and held on to it, and then later when they were checking to see who had who could go further on, then they felt me, and Corman had come over and checked me out and said it wasn't too deep, and says he can go further on. So he left me there with my blouse all bloody and stuff. So I changed blouse, and I couldn't find my helmet, so I put a helmet on. So years and years and years later on it, and now I have problems with my stomach on it, and it's been something that's been bugging me for a long time and really didn't realize what it was. But this slash open was later fixed by another corpsman that came over. When I asked, I said, it's been bleeding all night. Can you redo it? I said, where's the first corpsman that was over? He says, well, he got wounded and he couldn't come up, so I came up. I said, well, fix it. So he took some tape and laid some tape on the top of it and pulled it shut, and then he taped them together, and then that was how I got left. So I was all stooped over a little bit from the pain. And I would like to show you my wounds that I received on Guam, my first ones on it. And as you can see, this part here is where the bayonet went in. And after he stuck me, then I fell down and then I cut his throat on it. I killed him. And on Iwo Jima, I had 3 holes in me. The first hole was in the upper right-hand side, and there were 2 small holes right here where the bullets went through. They went through here. They went into my chest. They went through, chipped my clavicle, went through the top of my lungs, and came out through the top part. Now, the doctor that took the proud flesh off that was here told me that I would have a problem because that flesh, the proud flesh, was sticking out about 3/4 of an inch, and he performed surgery. Now this is in Arkansas on it, and at the Army, and he was upset because they discharged me with that thing sticking out of my chest, and he says that proud flesh would adhere to my skin, and it would probably bother me when I would flex my muscle, and as you can see, just that it would show up quite frequently right here, and it would go down. Now, that's where the proud flesh was sticking out and growing to my skin up there. It came out and destroyed my muscle in my left arm, and as you can see here, I don't have any muscle in here hardly because it was all destroyed on it. And I couldn't move it for a long time, and many, many weeks. And finally, and that was one of the reasons they said they were going to cut my arm off at my shoulder because it didn't have any pulse in it and I didn't have any movement on it. Finally, after I did all of that stuff to him, I got feeling back into my arm, and his instructions were to be sure and have nurses massage my arm and shoulder part for that reason, so I could get the life back into my arm. And finally, I got used to the arm on it, and I use it now for moving around things and stuff. But whenever I do to put weight on it, then I get that with my other stuff. So I have to kind of watch it what I pick up because it hurts afterwards on it. So that's the 3 that I had here, from up here, across my chest, and it bled all night long one night into my chest. It was prevented having a tap in the back of my, because all the blood was going into my chest cavity, and I kept turning over in the bed and stuff, and I broke loose, put something in there, and then it started bleeding inside. So that's what the doctor was going to cut, but I did it myself by turning over and laying with my chest bare. So that's what I got. I have 2 Purple Hearts for this and a Purple Heart for this. So I'm sorry that I had to show all of this on it, but especially my stomach. I'm embarrassed with my stomach, the way it looks, and I'm not very attractive in a swimsuit. But that's all right. They like me for my dance moves anyway. So.
I really appreciate you sharing this, sir. It's so important people see the reality of sacrifice. You have been so close to being killed so many times because you put yourself in a position to help others.
Thank you, yeah.
And it is such an honor to be in your presence.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Mr. Wright also needs our help. He wants to go back to Iwo Jima for the 80th anniversary this month, and the Marine Corps Club in Stockton, a great organization, is trying to raise the money to get him there. He's able-bodied, but he needs some help, and we can be the people to make one of his dreams come true, to pay for him, plus some of his guardians to go along and make sure it's all very safe. Please consider donating. There's a fundraising link in the description and comments. I'm also looking for other people to join the Remember World War II team. I'm focusing really on getting as many veterans on camera, and I need some editing plus social media help, so please reach out if you want to join the team. Thank you, and God bless. Please consider watching for more interviews with people like Frank Wright. Thank you, God bless.